The endocrine system functions in coordinating and integrating the activities of cells and tissues within the body, altering what those cells and tissues do in response to the hormones that are secreted. The endocrine system also regulates metabolism within the body, maintaining balances of water, electrolytes, and nutrients. The system also regulates growth, development, and reproduction, as several hormones are responsible for the maturation and normal adult functioning of the reproductive structures to produce ova and sperm. The major glands of the endocrine system include the pineal gland, the hypothalamus, and the pituitary gland. We will see that the hypothalamus exerts significant control over the functions of the pituitary gland, and all of these glands are associated with the brain. Moving inferiorly, we find the thyroid gland, which is surrounding the superior aspect of the trachea. The adrenal glands are the pyramid-shaped glands that sit atop the kidneys. The pancreas is in close proximity and closely associated with the digestive system. The reproductive structures of the uterus, the ovaries, and the testes have hormone-producing cell clusters within them. Both the nervous system and the endocrine system are the major organ systems in the body that exert control over other body systems. There are many similarities between them, but also there are some major differences in how they accomplish their functions. The neurons of the nervous system use electrical events called action potentials to stimulate the release of chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. It is the neurotransmitters that then signal and stimulate nearby cells and tissues that are at synapses with those neurons. The endocrine system uses hormones that are released into the bloodstream and carried all over the body. Therefore, the endocrine glands do not need to be in close proximity to the cells or the tissues that they are controlling. Both systems make use of chemical messengers. The neurons must have synapses with the cells and tissues that they communicate with. Therefore, the nervous system communicates directly with target structures. The endocrine glands do not need to be in close proximity as they release hormones into the bloodstream. The blood then transports the hormones all over the body. So, therefore, the endocrine system can be far away from the cells and tissues that they influence. Generally, the action potential and release of neurotransmitter from neurons only takes a handful of milliseconds, so nervous system signaling tends to be very fast. In contrast to this, cells and tissues may take a few minutes to a few hours to respond to hormones. So signaling by the endocrine system can be considerably slower than that of the nervous system. When a neuron stops generating action potentials and releasing neurotransmitters, signaling of cells at their synapses will stop, as any released neurotransmitters are generally broken down very quickly by enzymes, or they are reabsorbed by the neuron that released them. However, hormones can activate target cells for a prolonged period of time because many hormones must be cleared from the bloodstream by the kidneys or the liver, and the signaling can be amplified by second messenger systems, which we will investigate later. For either system, the cells or the tissues must have receptors for the hormone or the neurotransmitter in order to be controlled by it. The term target cell or target tissue means that a cell or tissue has a receptor for a particular hormone or a particular neurotransmitter. Focusing specifically on the endocrine system, we see that there are two major classes of hormones, the amino acid hormones and the steroid hormones. The amino acid hormones may be amines, which are modified amino acids, small proteins that are called peptides, or proteins themselves. These hormones are water-soluble and are dissolved in the water of the blood plasma. The exception to this are the thyroid hormones, which are amino acid-based but function as though they are steroid hormones. The amino acid hormones cannot cross the plasma membrane of the target cell, as they are hydrophilic and cannot cross the lipid interior of the membrane. So we find that the receptors for these particular hormones are located on the surface of the cell membrane. The steroid hormones are cholesterol-based hormones. Having lipid properties, they are hydrophobic and are unable to be dissolved in the water of the blood plasma. They must be transported through the blood plasma by carrier proteins. They are able to cross through the lipid core of the plasma membrane of their target cells, so we generally find that the receptors are located in the interior of the target cell. Thyroid hormones are also able to cross the plasma membrane of target cells to bind to receptors that are within the cell interior.